Prince Sam. Sam's mother cooked at the royal palace. One day, he went to work with her. She emphasized that he should stay in the kitchen. But Sam was bored. Thus, he decided to look around. He went around a corner. It shocked him to see a boy who had a strong likeness to him. Sam soon recovered. The other boy stared at him. Then he spoke. "Come with me." He needed to be rational, but he couldn't deny that he wanted to go. So he followed the boy to a chamber. "I am Prince Bertram," the boy said. Sam felt shy talking to a prince. "I'm Sam." "Trade places with me," the prince said. "We can't. My mother will kill me. Moreover, I don't know anything about being a prince." "No one will find out," the prince interrupted. "We look the same, and even our gestures are the same. It will only last for a week." Sam said okay. Soon, Sam's perspective on being a prince changed. He spent most of his day signing royal documents. At night, the prince's chamber was cold. He thought he was going to freeze or get sick with a fever or the flu. He was happy when the week ended. So was the prince. "I didn't know how to do anything," the prince said. "I've always relied on my servants to do everything for me." "I think I like being a regular person," Sam said. "Being a prince isn't fun." So, they both returned to their normal positions and enjoyed their lives more than before.
Henry Ford's famous car. My name is Henry Ford, and I invented a car called the Model T. I used to watch carriages on the streets. They fascinated me. Then I got a job as a junior mechanic. My father criticized me. He wanted me to run the farm, but I did not shift my plans. Then I worked for the Detroit Auto Company, but I wanted to make cars using less labor. That way, there would be fewer expenses. I started the Ford Motor Company in 1903. At first, the company did not do well, but many people were betting on my success. I also had a sincere aim to make a car that anybody could buy. Then, in 1908, I introduced the Model T in a formal ceremony. It confirmed that I was right. It was possible to build a car my way. The Model T differed from other vehicles. Workers could attach different parts for cars or trucks. This saved time. One Model T could be put together in 93 minutes. All of them had the same classic design. They were all the same size and height. The prime reason for doing this was to save money. Over 19 years, I sold over 15 million Model Ts. This sent a signal to other companies. People would buy cars to commute to work if the price was low enough.
The priest. A young priest was always sad. He was good at his profession, but he still had no joy. He visited a group of wise monks. When he got to the monk's house, they greeted him and let him in. The monks asked the priest, "What is the matter?" The priest said, "I should be happy, but I am not. I don't know what to do." The wise monks paused for a minute. Then one said, "We are convinced of your faith. You are a very good priest. But to find joy, you have to do more. Above all, investigate the elements of your life that you love." The priest thought that this answer was odd, but he was curious. The next day, the priest thought about his abilities. He got a few ideas, and he did not want to delay any longer. He liked to draw, so he made some cartoons. He also liked to write, so he started a diary. He was interested in agriculture, so he planted some grains. He made jam from berries. He made his own labels to put on the jars of jam. He painted his ceiling. The priest learned something. It is not too hard to be happy after all. All one has to do is find things they like doing and do them.
Mrs. May and the Green Girl. One morning, people from a small town found a little girl by a stream. She seemed to be wearing a green costume. As the people got closer, they saw that the girl's skin was green. "Oh my!" the people exclaimed. "What if her motive for coming to our town is bad? What if she has a strange origin?" An old woman kindly went to her. "Look how scared she is. Please," she begged, "do not reject her. I will adopt her." There was silence until the judge spoke. "I don't know," he said in a worried tone, "but we cannot forbid you. I indeed hope you're not being a fool." Mrs. May extended her hand to the girl. "Come with me. I won't hurt you." The girl spoke a language Mrs. May didn't know, but she was able to interpret what the girl was trying to say. Sometimes the girl drew pictures to illustrate what she meant. The green girl was from a place far beyond the sun. There, people lived in nests built in trees. They only ate green leaves, which made their skin green. "Well, you can't just eat leaves," Mrs. May said. She fed the green girl home-cooked meals, and soon the girl wasn't green anymore. The people had a huge reception to welcome her as a citizen of the town.
Albert Einstein. My name is Albert Einstein. Many people know about the great things I've accomplished. But I had many barriers before I became famous. I was born in Germany. When I was in elementary school, I already knew about math and statistics. When I was a boy, I pretended to be a great scientist. I loved school, but my life at home was hard. My father lost his job, so my family lived in poverty. We could not pay the rent in Germany. We became immigrants and went to Italy. I finished high school and went to college in Switzerland. After college, I began writing about science. I did not reach success in an instant, though. At first, other scientists did not approve of my work. They thought I was a failure. Rising to the rank of an admired scientist was a gradual process. Soon, people started to notice that I was right. At last, I began to get some recognition. I showed how to find the approximate size of very big things, like stars. I also detected and explained the movement of very small things, like atoms. And for fun, I made a machine that could refrigerate food by inserting heat. I never retired. It was my duty to keep working. I overcame many hard times, and I will be remembered for my important works.
From the Earth to the Stars. Jeremy was from a family of miners. Like them, he worked underground during the day. His job was to gather raw minerals and jewels. Each night after work, he lay awake in an open field. With his telescope, he looked at the stars. He was amazed by the scale of space. He wished someday he might travel there. One day there was an accident in the mine. Water poured into the mine. Everything was dark. Jeremy stretched out and grabbed a piece of wood. It kept him from sinking. Jeremy felt a presence nearby. "I am an angel," said a voice. "What?" Jeremy exclaimed. "You must never come underground again. Have the courage to make your wishes come true." For a long time he floated in silence. Then he heard other voices. The other miners were coming to rescue him. The next day, Jeremy skipped work. He decided to become an astronaut. For the next 2 years, he studied hard. One day, he was given permission to participate in a mission to space. His wish had been granted. His spaceship left the ground. It went higher until there was no more gravity. He saw satellites floating next to the ship. Then Jeremy saw a beautiful angel outside his spaceship. It smiled at Jeremy. For some minutes, Jeremy could not speak. Finally, he said, "Thank you."
The Farm Festival. Once there was a farm. Many animals lived there. One day, they had a contest in the yard. They were going to race from the barn to the farmer's garage. The barn and the garage were far apart. It would be a long race. The winner qualified to win a bag full of apples as an award. But the race did not start well. The cart with all the apples was not stable, and the animals had to repair it. Then the pup knocked over the apples. The pig yelled, "We are going to slip. We must clean up this mess." The pup felt bad, and she began to cry. The dog gave her a tissue to wipe her tears. Then the race resumed. But the duck tried to rob them and take all the apples. The cat said, "I will have you arrested." The duck said, "You can't convict me. You can't prove I took it." The race stopped yet again. The animals tried to race one more time. Then they heard an alarm coming from the barn. There was a fire. They got buckets of water to put out the fire. A journalist came to write a story about the festival and the race. The horse told her, "I am a special breed of horse. I would have won the race easily." The pig said, "It was somewhat hard to have the race, but we had fun. That is what's important."
The Clever Thief. A new king inherited a lot of gold. He loved his gold very much. He even wanted to keep it after he died. Therefore, he had a large tomb built for himself and his riches. However, the tomb's builder had a plan. Most of the stones were solid, but he put one special stone on the roof. It was made of a lighter substance. When the tomb was done, the king moved in his stock of gold. One night, the builder went to the tomb. His excitement mounted. Because all the stones looked alike, he had left a distinct mark on the artificial block. The mark helped him distinguish the difference in the architecture. The builder lifted the stone. Using a chain, he climbed into the tomb. He filled his pockets with gold. The builder followed this manner night after night. Soon, the king noticed a shortage in his gold. This annoyed the king. At last he hired a guard to hide inside the tomb. When the builder entered the tomb, the guard wounded him. He climbed a pole to the roof. The builder left drops of blood in the dust. The guard followed them and caught him. When the builder healed, he explained to the king that he didn't keep any of the gold. He had given it all away to the poor.
The Doctor's Cure. James Fry was a fantastic doctor. His surgeries helped many disabled people overcome their injuries. He also wrote for a popular medical journal. James was very busy. His son Steve rarely saw him. One day, James was walking and inspecting a patient's file. There was water all over the floor. James slipped on the liquid and fell. He fell on a broken glass tube. He was hurt. Steve came to visit him in the hospital. James said, "It will be tough for me to stay in bed, but I can hardly bend my legs." "Then let's watch a movie," Steve said. It made them laugh together. Steve said, "I have to leave, but here's some fiction to read." James started to recall fun parts of life. He marveled at small things, like food. He was too busy to notice them before. "Steve," he said, "you get more nutrients when you chew slowly. But I think it makes food taste better, too." Weeks later, James said, "Steve, I haven't spent enough time with you. I regret this. Even my soul feels better when you visit. But I have spent sufficient time here. We should go home." Outside there was a warm breeze. James watched a flag blow. Finally, James said, "I'm not ready to work. I'm going to take a long bath, and then we'll watch a movie together."
The Criminal. A man had been in jail because he stole things. The criminal never felt bad. One day, he escaped and ran into the woods. He found a cabin with a fence. The cabin was very neat. Inside, the criminal found a bowl of fruit, a bottle of milk, and a dozen eggs. He ate the fruit and drank the milk. But the eggs smelled funny, so he put them in the trash bin. Soon he heard the sound of a vehicle's motor. An old man came in and saw the criminal. The old man yelled, "Why are you in my house?" The criminal lied, "I'm a policeman." The old man replied, "I am your elder. You cannot fool me. You are the criminal." The criminal's facial expression became very sad. He admitted that he was a criminal. He said, "I'm sorry. It was rude for me to come into your home. Please take the cash from my wallet. It is a mere amount, but it will settle our problem." The old man said, "I do not want your money. I just want to inspire you to be good. There will be no penalty for taking my food." On this occasion, the criminal realized that he had been bad. He listened to the old man and never stole from anyone ever again.
The Two Captains. Once there were two ships. Both ships carried cotton. The captains were very different. Thomas was strict. He made his crew engage in difficult tasks. "Make sure the ship's deck is firm and that nothing falls. Put more fuel in the tank," he said. His ship was very plain, but he never had a problem with it. The second captain, William, was not serious. He had a grand ship, and he loved having fun. His crew amused him by singing and dancing. But his crew never fixed anything on the ship. They just wanted to surf. One day, Thomas saw a hurricane ahead. He knew that his ship needed to turn around, but he was sure William did not see the storm. He adjusted the dials on the radio and called his friend. Thomas said, "You'll hit the reef. It's made completely of coral. Turn around to ensure that you do not crash." William said, "We will go under the deck and shut the door. We will dance and sing until we are past the danger zone." When William's ship got to the hurricane, the wind blew it into the reef. The ship crashed, and water flowed below the deck. William's crew accused him of being a bad captain. The loss of the ship taught William a lesson. There are times to have fun, but there are also times to be serious.
The Duke and the Minister. A mean duke grew tobacco, and his cardinal rule was to always keep the plants healthy. The duke's top minister was his twin brother. They closely resembled each other. One day, the tobacco plants started to die. He hired men to watch the fields. Soon, the men brought a woman to him and said, "We captured a witch." The duke asked, "How do you know?" "She sang magic words. I can't pronounce them. She has cursed us." "The death of the plants is a symptom of her curse," the men said. "I am just an ordinary woman. I was singing a song in a different language," the woman protested. The duke didn't listen. "You are guilty. You will go to jail." The minister thought that she was innocent. He needed to expose the truth. He asked the duke to loan him one of his plants. He looked at it closely. He saw hundreds of small bugs eating it. Then the minister went to the jail and did something bold. "Let this woman go," he said. The guards thought he was the duke. They let her go. The minister said, "I owe you an apology." "Thank you. I thought my stay in jail was permanent," the woman answered. The minister thought the duke would punish him, but he didn't. The duke was too busy trying to preserve his plants.
The Fisherman. Every day, a fisherman sat on a bridge. He ate apples and spit the seeds into the water. He had a simple way to catch fish. He cut a branch off of a tree and tied a line to it. He put a sharp hook on it and made a tight knot. Then he whispered, "Come here, fish." Like magic, the fish bit the hook. He put them in a big net and took them home to make big pots of fish soup from them. One day, another man walked up to him. He said, "My name is George. I am staying at the inn. I bet that I am a better fisherman than you. I will accompany you today. I dare you to prove your skill." The fisherman cast his line. George had a lot of electronic tools. One machine gave him the virtual locations of fish. His rod weighed fish. At the end of the day, George subtracted his fish from the fisherman's. The fisherman had beaten him by 47. George asked, "How do you catch fish with only a branch and a bare line?" "I have many different sorts of tools." The fisherman told George, "My philosophy is simple. I am patient and I believe in myself. Take a breath and try it my way."
Osiris and the Nile. Long ago, Osiris was the king of Egypt, and Isis was the queen. They ruled the fertile land by the Nile River. They had great intelligence, and they shared their abstract ideas with everyone. Osiris taught the Egyptians how to make wheels and furniture. Isis taught them how to make things from clay and cloth. The people thought they deserved a gift. So they built Osiris and Isis a pyramid. Everyone loved Osiris except his brother Set. Set wanted to be king. Osiris made his annual trip around Egypt and led religious events. The villages gave him beautiful shells and colorful feathers as gifts. When Osiris returned, Set brought a beautiful wooden box from behind a curtain. "If someone fits inside this box, I will give it to him or her," Set said. Osiris got in it. It was an ideal fit. Suddenly, Set closed the box and threw it into the river. "Now I will be king," Set said. The box washed up on a foreign shore after a flood. Isis brought his body home and obtained a grave for him in Egypt. The Egyptian gods thought Isis had done something very romantic. Because of her love, the gods made him the god of the underworld. Osiris returned every spring to help the farmers. Even nowadays, people say Osiris keeps their crops alive.
The taxi driver. Peter's job was driving a taxi downtown. He made a small salary. But he liked his job because it wasn't dull. Every day he saw new things that appealed to him. Peter was practical about the future. "Maybe I can get a scholarship to college," he thought. "I could learn mathematical formulas and get a job at a bank. I could help clients invest their money." Peter stopped to pick up a passenger. "Where to?" he asked. "Go to the 4th Street Bank, and don't talk to me. I've had a rough day," the man said. Peter was angry, but he had a peaceful philosophy. When they stopped, the man's fare came to $10.25. He put his hands in his pockets. "I can't find my wallet," he said. "I can't pay the fare." Peter said, "Maybe I'll give you a temporary loan. You can borrow $10.25 from me." The man was embarrassed, saying, "I was mean to you, but now I want to help you. I founded this bank. I want to give you $1,000. That much money was like a treasure to Peter. The man urged him to take the money, but he didn't. "You're an honest person," the man said. "I assumed you would take it. I want you to work for me." The next day, Peter started his job at the bank. He was happy to be done with his former job.